Good evening, you're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. The top story, the top focus on To The Point this evening will be the state of West Bengal, with questions being raised whether the state is being transparent enough in its COVID-19 figures. We're going to cut across to Derek O'Brien, who's going to be joining us exclusively. We'll also go to Babul Supriyo later on in the course of the show. But first up, viewers, I want to take our viewers to the latest numbers. What are the numbers right now where India stands in its fight against coronavirus? The total cases in the country right now stand at 11,933. Till now, we have reported 392 deaths. I want to go across to the worst hit states right now. Maharashtra continues to be the worst hit states, recording 2,687 positive cases. 178 deaths have been reported from Maharashtra. Standing at number 2 with the second highest number of coronavirus positive cases is Delhi, the national capital, with 1,561. 30 deaths have been reported from the national capital. Now, these figures, viewers, have been recorded since till April 15th, which is today, just about half hour ago. So this is where we stand on our fight against corona. But I want to shift focus right now to our top story this evening. As the country marks its biggest health crisis in recent history, it is trial by fire for our state administrations, with one motive: flatten the curve. One state that was expected to see a big surge of positive cases due to its population, its density, has not gone down the predicted path. The state of West Bengal has only but seen a conservative rise. Is this fabulous news and the state government has been able to contain the spread? Or is it an attempt by the state to hide or fake figures? Well, as alleged by the state opposition and some health experts. Take a look. If it's trial by fire for all state administrations, it's the acid test for one woman, Mamata Didi. To contain the spread at any cost, to flatten the curve, to be seen as an able administrator. With just a year to go before her administration, her government is put to the electoral test in the state. And politics is already peaking over the conservative rise in corona-positive cases in the state of West Bengal. For a state that was expected to register a high spread, it has seen a remarkable slow growth.
There is a diktat from the Mamata Banerjee government that a committee will decide whether a COVID-positive patient has actually died because of COVID and not for any other reason. Now, this takes away the right of the treating doctor to certify the reason of the death. Is it being done to underreport the number of deaths as a result of COVID?
কেউ কেউ লিখে দিচ্ছেন 30 জন মারা গেছে, কোত্থেকে সংখ্যাটা পেলেন? তার বিরুদ্ধে তো এফআইআর হওয়া উচিত। সংখ্যাটা কোথায় পেলেন? আর এটা আপনাদের কাছে আমি আগেও বলেছি, প্রাইম মিনিস্টারের মিটিংয়ে আমি বলেছি, ইন প্রেজেন্স অফ অল, যে আমাদের একটা অডিট কমিটি আছে, এক্সপার্টস কমিটি আছে, আমরা কেউ ইন্টারফেয়ার করি না। দে ডিসাইড হোয়াট ইজ দ্য কোভিড কেস, কোভিড ডেথ, হোয়াট ইজ নট। এটা আমরা করি, আমি করি না, চিফ সেক্রেটারি করে না, পুলিশ করে না, হোম সেক্রেটারি করে না, হেলথ সেক্রেটারি করে না। এটার কমিটি আছে, স্পেশাল কমিটি।
The war on coronavirus quickly became political when the number of deaths initially reported in the state was scaled down from 7 to 3, with the BJP IT cell head Amit Malviya charging the government of fudging figures, with Mamata Banerjee later calling out the IT cell chief for peddling fake news. Allegations started to fly, especially from constituencies in West Bengal with BJP-elected MPs, that COVID-19 deaths were being passed off and cremated as regular recorded deaths.
Why that 2 dead body complete cremation was done in presence of police administration as well as fire brigade? Why state government want to hide the death, cause of the death?
Politics aside, at face value, this graph shows how well West Bengal is doing compared to other states in the battle against COVID-19. But when read with this graph, showing how little the state is testing, directly meaning lesser positive cases, then there are questions that need to be raised. Why is the West Bengal government testing so little? The other red flag raised by the West Bengal Doctors Forum is a special committee formed by the West Bengal government which will decide if the cause of death is indeed coronavirus. This committee alone will sign off recording a death as a COVID-19 death and not the doctor performing the post-mortem.
Now, the whole idea of a committee looking about the cause of death is a bit of a if to the doctor population. We are trained to treat patient, we are trained to determine the cause of death. And if we can treating the patient, we are good enough to treat the patient, we are good enough to write the cause of death. And that right is nobody can take it away from us.
Is it plain politics being played during a health emergency? An emergency that could very well define the course of an impending election in the state of West Bengal? Or is there an attempt by a government to come off looking better than it actually is? With Manogya Loewal, Bureau Report, India Today. To answer all the questions on the fight of West Bengal, where coronavirus is concerned, joining me tonight on To The Point is Derek O'Brien. He is the Rajya Sabha TMC MP and a TMC leader. Appreciate you joining us, Mr. O'Brien. Mr. O'Brien, let's just keep the politics aside. And I want to begin with, basic facts. Let's just put facts out there. If you look at the curve, if you look at the numbers, West Bengal is doing beautifully, not recording more than 300 cases. But if you look at testing, Mr. O'Brien, then it's a different story. Your state is not even testing. A state like Bihar is testing twice as much as you.
Good. I'm glad you said leave the politics out, because we are very clear who we are fighting. We are fighting Corona. But the BJP and some of its muck in Bengal, they are fighting Trinamool. So please, I'll answer everything you want on testing, and I'll give you the details in testing. But it must be put on record, our numbers are better than anyone else because we were the first movers. Check the records, not what Trinamool spokesperson is saying. 6th of March, Mamata Banerjee addressed Corona in Bengal. 5th of March, Mamata Banerjee's Trinamool MPs wrote about Corona in Parliament. From the 7th or the 8th of March, every day in Parliament and in Bengal, we were putting the flag up. So because we were early movers, that's to our advantage. Now let's come specifically to testing. No rhetoric. I have 6 points to make, Ms. Chaudhary. Allow me to make those 6 points, and I'll answer after that any question you want. 6 points. 1, states could not order testing kits. Only ICMR can order testing kits and dispatch those kits. That's a fact. So the more testing kits in the beginning was sent to the states which were affected more, and Bengal was not there. Second, 44 lakh kits were ordered. ICMR after that says many of those kits didn't arrive. By end March, how many kits did Bengal have? We had 40 kits on record, 40. Come to the third one. 582 quarantine centers were set up. 68,000 people were kept when they were coming off aeroplanes. They were kept in the safe homes. They were kept in the quarantine centers because Bengal was prepared. So we got it at an early stage. We started taking steps at early stage. Our fourth point, we followed ICMR guidelines, which said that only symptomatic patients could be tested. After that, ICMR changed the guidelines to say asymptomatic patients could also be tested. And I have 3 more quick points. ICMR guidelines. Now you come to number of testing centers. Who must approve that? We had 2 only approved. Then we sent for an approval for 5 more. Now we have 7 testing centers. Then you come to this, they raised this, I was looking at your package about the expert committee of doctors. Yes, chief ministers cannot certify. They're not qualified, nor is the chief secretary. That's why we have an expert committee, not of politicians, but of doctors. Please, the model we are using is not you, but the other folks who are doing politics, read the model of Alvin Feinstein. He suggests, 1970, he suggests that you must take comorbidity into account. Our panel of expert doctors, we also have another panel of global advisory board, but that's different, not for today. Our panel of expert doctors have advised that we take comorbidity into, so there can be a primary and there can be a secondary. So it's not about doing doctor politics. The gentleman who may have been interviewed may be doing doctor politics. I'm not here. I've presented the case very, very clearly to you. So when it comes to good practices and organizational structure and best practices, Bengal is the model to follow. By the way, now testing numbers will also improve in Bengal because we have the kits. Now we will improve the numbers. There's no need to panic. We've got everything else right. Last point. We got our numbers right. Nobody supplied us with personal protection equipment. Bengal acquired 3.25 lakhs of personal protection equipment. We acquired 2.17 lakhs of N95 masks. We acquired 15 lakh other masks. We acquired 6.75 lakh gloves, sanitizer 66,000 liters. So because Bengal has been well prepared, now they're saying this, but this is okay. The Prime Minister is requesting, and we will keep the request of the Prime Minister, don't politicize this. Unfortunately, the opposition party in Bengal and some 3.5 Twitter faltus are doing all this. We are very clear. Our expert committee is guiding us. Bengal has done well. We are proud of it. Yes, I understand the problem with the political party there in opposition. They don't have the courtesy or the grace to do what we are doing, getting it right. Thank you for allowing me this time. I appreciate it. I'll take your questions.
All right. Okay. So, Mr. O'Brien, the fact is, how did this debate start? It started when West Bengal first declared 7 deaths in early April from COVID-19 and then scaled it down to 3 deaths. So this was when the entire debate started of possibly West Bengal fudging figures. And that is when, of course, the opposition in your state jumped onto it. In terms of clarity, the first 5 days in April, while every state was having press conferences, they were, giving out figures. Out of 5 days, 3 days, there were absolutely no figures given out by the government.
Please understand, if I start talking about dates and figures, I can have another half-an-hour program with you, Ms. Chowdhury, on what was happening from the 6th of March to the 24th of March, when you go and announce a lockdown, a 21-day lockdown with 4 hours notice. Let's not talk about figures, because I'll talk to you about physical distancing in Parliament. Parliament was happening. Madhya Pradesh election was happening. What are we talking about? Because Mamata Banerjee, because she was proactive, now we are discussing the figures. The Chief Minister of Bengal has been right up front. And this is not only the Chief Minister of Bengal. This is the Chief Ministers of all states. We have to fight this together. We need to stay positive. We need to fight Corona. This is not the time. Please. And I appreciate that nobody of any seriousness with the BJP, I'm talking about cabinet ministers, prime ministers, is indulging in this. They may be approving of this, but this is some political riffraff which I was seeing, which you were putting up. This one said, some IT head said, you all do all that. We are doing ahead with Bengal. And by the way, the bigger thing in Bengal is we have taken a humanitarian approach. I'm glad today the Congress party also agreed with what we said. First things first, get rations out for 6 months. Get that out so hunger is not a problem. First things first. We were the first people to do this. First things first, we said a complete lockdown is not going to work. So we didn't fight with the center. Why fight? Not the time to fight. What did we do? We did our own interpretation. Trinamool, Mamata Banerjee's interpretation of lockdown. What does she mean by that? Keep the tea gardens open. 25% of workers are going there. The center asked us to keep the textile minister, which is fair enough. Fair request. She said keep 18 of the jute mills open. So we said, no, why 18? We can't decide on 18. So let's keep all 60 open, but with 15% of people there. Mithai ka dukan, you're saying it's not essential. We think it's very essential, because if people practice physical distancing, and I don't like this term social distancing, if people practice physical distancing and go to the mithai dukan, thousands of dairy farmers will be happy. Their milk will not get wasted. There's a telephone line in place in Bengal where you can call an emergency taxi. So we are talking about not a complete lockdown. We are talking about a humanitarian lockdown. The testing numbers, the way the Bengal government has handled it, you cannot penalize it. And please, this is not the time to do politics. This is not the time. All the politics in the world, after you do your Diwali and winter, then elections. Now, as a state, as a country, we all need to be focused, and we all need to be backing, I don't like the term warriors and all that, people in the police, the health workers. Let's get behind them. Let's get behind them. Lots of time for politics.
But Mr. O'Brien, and that's my final question to you. When you say lots of time for politics, there is a set which says not too much time for West Bengal. You're going into an election in a year's time, and possibly this health emergency could lay the grounds for that.
See, elections will come, elections will go. This is not about fighting elections. Mamta Banerjee does her public service in a different kind of way. That visual of hers, drawing circles in the market, has no other public servant today has managed to capture. I don't need to go into delve into politics. Forget about elections. Elections will come, elections will go. I wanted to share with you today how clearly we are on testing. Do we need to get the numbers up? Of course we will get the testing numbers up. But this is not, you have to look at West Bengal from 6th of March. Do you know 68,000 people? I had so many acquaintances calling up saying they were right from Dubai straight into a quarantine center. They were cribbing. They were getting angry. Why can't we go home? No. I'm glad we did all that. And I have enough time to discuss on another program. While we were doing this from March the 6th to March the 24th, what did we do? We got thrown out of parliament for wearing masks. We got thrown out of parliament because we wanted to show a 20-second hand wash. What were we being told on the 13th of March? We were told, hey, you Trinamool MPs, you're indulging in gimmicks. Those were not gimmicks. Those were big ideas.
Okay. All right, Mr. O'Brien, appreciate for joining us this evening. And as you said, the testing will go up, and let's hope it does go up and we see the numbers translate in days to come. Thank you for joining us. That was Derek O'Brien answering all the questions regarding the fight where West Bengal, the state of West Bengal is concerned, and the fight against the coronavirus. Thank you, Derek, for joining us. All right, I want to move on right now because we have another guest coming up, and he is Babul Supriyo. He is from West Bengal, from Asansol district, and he has certain questions for the West Bengal government. We're going to cut across to him in just a short while, but just going to take you through some of the charges that has been laid at the doorstep of the West Bengal government. Derek did try to answer a few, Mr. O'Brien there, but Babul Supriyo joining us on what possibly has been said by the Bharatiya Janata Party and the opposition, saying pretty much that the Bengal government hospitals are under pressure. The doctors thwarted from writing COVID as death reasons, which we spoke about earlier, and possible of the state of West Bengal under-reporting coronavirus cases. Joining me right now is Babul Supriyo. He is a Union Cabinet Minister. Appreciate you joining us, Mr. Supriyo. Mr. Supriyo, my first question is, what do you think and why do you think the state of West Bengal is actually fudging numbers?
Well, it's not about what I am feeling. It's not about what the BJP is feeling. I genuinely would like to believe that at this point of time, there is no BJP, no Trinamool Congress, no Congress. There is nothing called opposition and people in power. I think it's people's power, as our Honorable Prime Minister has put it rightly. It's people's power, the togetherness that can make us win the fight over Corona. In West Bengal, it need not be an allegation. These are facts. Why should it be even diluted by mentioning BJP or anyone in that matter? The entire society, entire Calcutta, entire West Bengal knows that how the Mamata Banerjee government is playing politics with the figures, how dead bodies are being taken by the police, by Trinamool leaders in the darkness of the night. They are being burnt. They are being taken to they're cremated and burned in the Dhapa grounds, where or the entire city's waste go. In those places, they are getting burnt. They are being burnt. Strict instructions have been given to private hospitals, to all the doctors, to not mention COVID-19 deaths on the death certificates, but rather to mention comorbidity. Now, it's very simple that if a patient is suffering from suspected SARI, severe acute respiratory illness, then it needs to be evaluated whether that is a corona positive, and in that case, what measures needs to be taken, and we do not want a situation where the medical practitioners, the doctors, are writing to the health department asking that necessary actions and instructions be given to them as to what needs to be done after that. And now people are actually they are showering their wrath on the police. It's not different things about the Tablighi Jamaat people given a safe haven in a Hajj house in in Rajarhat, and how many of them have fled from there to different areas in the backward side of Rajarhat. So these are all facts. Now we cannot have health being a state subject, law and order being a state subject. It has to, whatever data we have in the center, are data that is being sent to us by the state. No other state in the country is being accused of doing such harakiri with this, but Mamata Banerjee is. So these are facts. I don't think that I speak in the capacity of a minister here as part of our Honorable Prime Minister's ministerial team, and I've got nothing to do with political allegations. What the people of Bengal are saying, that's exactly what is my duty to put it across to the people.
But Mr. Supriyo, we just spoke to Derek O'Brien as well, and one question, that was answered by them was that they didn't have the kits. When we say that, why they're not testing enough, they say we never had the kits because ICMR never really allotted the kits to the state of West Bengal. What do you have to say about that?
Obviously, if there is so much of smoke, then there has to be some fire that exists somewhere, and the fire lies in those two firewalls, those two committees that have been formed, through which, or breaking which, the actual figures can actually reach the public, which is not. Now, one is the COVID audit committee, which is going to check all the death certificates to ascertain whether it's a COVID death or not. Any person in that matter who's on a ventilator, which is a normal case in the case of COVID, dies of a heart failure or a multiple organ failure. So in that case, none of the deaths are COVID. They're all dying of comorbidity. There is another committee which decides whether the test needs to be sent for, to which particular lab the sample needs to be sent. And as we know, Mamata Banerjee has been falsely alleging that the center has not sent adequate number of testing kits to Bengal. 5 days back, I had spoken to ICMR in Delhi. I had spoken to the director in Bengal, and I had already mentioned that 29,500 kits were lying in the depot of NICED in Kolkata. Without tests being done, the number of tests were only around 2,000 at that point of time. And the number of samples in the first week of March that was sent to NICED was about 90 to 100 or maybe 110. They dropped down to single figures, 9, 10, 11 per day in the last week of March, first week of April, because the actual figures that are coming out of NICED in terms of corona positive, it is not making Didi happy. So it has to go through that firewall, and everything is getting. Today she has threatened the journalist in a press conference for that she's going to file FIRs, she's going to slap the National Security Act and all of that on them for coming up with figures which are not true or not substantiated by the government. So there is a huge harakiri. She has opened the mishtika dukans, she has opened the full market, the flower markets, the pan bazaar, all all religious mandir, masjid, churches, everything are closed. What is the need for flowers? And which gentleman, which family right now is going to pick up a packet of flowers from outside that normally hangs, are delivered to a house and hangs on the door handle outside? Who's going to do that at home? So why is she playing with this? Is she trying to prove that in Bengal, under her leadership, corona has been defeated? And that's the biggest danger that she's playing with, that making people careless, which we already are, making careless about the threat of corona, and the entire world is reeling with it. America, US, France, Spain, you name it. And here it is Mamata Banerjee saying that nothing really has happened.
Mr. Supriyo, my final question to you. A lot is being said that possibly this is an election year. It's a health emergency. It will pretty much set the narrative for elections in West Bengal, which anyway everybody is looking at. So could all of this be a part of it? Politics rearing its head right now during a health crisis?
As I said, it's only very uncouth, dirty-minded party led by, a dictator in that manner, who practices fascism in real life, and that is Mamata Banerjee, who could come up with such political allegations and talk about opposition. In this scenario, as I said, there can be no opposition. And why this getting so petty? I mean, this is the first time I'm hearing this, that from the BJP, the areas where there are BJP MPs and MLAs, that's where the deaths, the report of the deaths are coming. That could be true, because in those places, BJP has the people's support, and therefore you have a representative who can raise the voice and catch Trinamool netas driving hearses to the to unknown places to burn the bodies. As I speak to you, please send your reporter to Bangor Hospital. You will find 4 bodies, decomposing there because no one is willing to take risk of taking them to the cremation ground, and death certificates do not exist. So let's not talk about election here. Let's not talk about too far in the future, because it's whether it is election, जान है तो जहान है. Election तो बहुत दूर की बात है. कोई ये ममता बनर्जी जी को समझाए और इस वक्त इसका इतना छोटी बात ना करे, because everyone, the medical fraternity has expressed their displeasure that it is a big humiliation and insult to the fraternity, where deaths or death certificates needs to be passed and okayed by the bureaucrats to decide whether it is a corona death or not a corona death. So it's a very, very dangerous situation in Bengal, and Mamta Didi is actually playing with fire by making bureaucrats and her whims and fancies decide how the condition, what the real ground level condition is.
All right, appreciate you joining us, Mr. Babul Supriyo. We're going to keep a keen eye on all developments there. You have the West Bengal government, which says very clearly that they're doing all they can, and the data which is coming out is the real data. And of course, you hear the other side by the Bharatiya Janata Party. With that, I want to shift focus to Rajasthan, Kota. Now, Kota is the hub of training where young kids from across India actually go in there for coaching. Well, as the lockdown was announced, most of them were stranded, and now they've put out an appeal. As lockdown 2.0 begins, thousands of stranded students in India's coaching capital, Kota, have taken to Twitter with the hashtag #SendUsBackHome. Students from across the country come to Kota to prepare for their big IIT dream and other competitive exams. After the lockdown was announced, most found themselves stranded.
क्वारंटाइन एक्सटेंड होता जा रहा है, तो मेरे को डर लग रहा है कि कैसे क्या होगा. मेस वाले लोग भी कभी कभार बोल देते हैं कि आप लोग का फूड सप्लाई में थोड़ा इशू हो सकता है, आपको कोऑपरेट करना पड़ेगा. कभी ब्रेकफास्ट स्किप हो जाता है, कभी लंच स्किप हो जाता है.
The district administration in Kota had earlier allowed the students to leave for their native states. However, in the wake of refusal by the states to accept these students back, the permission was withdrawn, leaving thousands of them extremely anxious.
जैसे वापस से लॉकडाउन 3 मई तक एक्सटेंड हो गया, तो हम यही चाहते हैं कि सरकार थोड़ा हमें मदद करे ताकि हम अपने घर जा पाए, अपना परेशानी थोड़ा दूर हो, अपने खाने पीने का परेशानी कम हो, रहने का परेशानी कम हो.
More than 40,000 students preparing for engineering and medical entrance examinations are currently stranded in Rajasthan's Kota. Most of them from states like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Haryana, Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh. So far, around 40 positive cases of coronavirus have been diagnosed from Kota, and understandably, not being home with their families at this time have led to many anxious moments. With Devankur Vadhavan, Bureau Report, India Today. All right, with that, I'm going to go into a quick break. To stay with us, news and updates continue on the other side. We'll see you tomorrow on To The Point. Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.